for this video, I need to set it up a little bit, which is something I've never done. And I know I appreciate it when I watch YouTube videos and they kind of like set up the experience and then give their review and like really talk through what they saw. It's a lot of visuals and not so much audio or me explaining like what's going on. So I went a few weeks ago. I went home to New York to visit my family, and I finally checked out One Vanderbilt, which is this new attraction in New York City. It's a observation deck. It's actually one of the tallest observation decks in New York, and it has opened, I think it's been open since 2020, late 2020. I guess unfortunately it opened during the pandemic, and now it's 2023 and I finally bought tickets to check out the Summit. So watch the video, stick around for the end for more information and really breaking down the space, starting from the entrance all the way to the terrace at the top. And yeah, I mean, just watch, it's like incredible.
New York has always been about change, but this part of town is stuck in the past. When the city stops transforming, the city dies. We felt this was a building that had to be built to spark a revival.
We took the leap. One Vanderbilt was our opportunity to put our mark on the skyline.
Bring it in. This building broke boundaries, redefining what is possible.
We want to create a space that will be unparalleled. In a way, we'll look back on this period. And the building that will be most looked at and examined will be One Vanderbilt.
research even before going, and I found out some crazy things. So first of all, One Vanderbilt, it is 93 stories high, which is one of the tallest buildings in New York. I believe it's the 4th tallest at this point. It is right on the corner of 42nd Street and Vanderbilt, which is like right across the street, maybe even part of Grand Central. So Midtown East. So if you're in the Midtown area or you're on the east side, especially near Grand Central, there's no way you can miss it. It's such a huge and tall building. Designed by Kohn Pedersen Fox, and he's a developer for SL Green Realty. It stands about like 14,000 feet above the ground. The observation decks are on floor like 90 to 93. And then it was actually designed, like the interior of the space is known to be like an exhibit, and it was designed by Kenzo. Crazy thing is that they started acquiring the land for this building in 2001. Whoa. 2001, they started buying like the first building that would then become One Vanderbilt. And I just find that crazy because we constantly see these like overnight stories of like success, companies making like billions going public, creators starting from like nothing to like thousands and millions of followers. And we don't realize like the work that goes behind that. So, you know, this building opened in 2020. I don't think people realize that they started the idea, the concept, the seed of this in 2001. That's like 20 years in the making. Like, that's crazy. But yeah, Kenzo Digital did like the installation in the space. So, you know, as you'll see in the video, there's a bunch of like mirrors in this observation room. And so like everywhere you turn, there's a different like view of the landscape of Manhattan. And, you know, it's almost kind of like dizzying, like in a really great way. And it's funny because as I was going through the mirrored room, which like kind of looks like infinite, right? When you're like in the room itself, you look down, there's mirrors, up, left, right. The only things that are not mirrored are like the glass that shows off the city on the perimeter. And for me, it reminded me of a Kusama, like the infinity rooms that you go in and then like they look like they go forever. And that's funny because apparently Kenzo was actually inspired by Yayoi Kusama, and he really wanted to bring her inspiration to life at One Vanderbilt in this very like transcendent way. He really did morph the city into like a surreal playhouse, funhouse that like just like distorts kind of reality. There's this quote from Anne Rachel Schiffman, who is one of the head designers of the interiors of the space. And I thought this really like explained it well, so I'm gonna like read it. There are spaces at Summit where you are fully immersed in the city in all its energetic glory. And then you turn a corner and find a little moment of respite, a place where you can catch your breath and have a thought to yourself. And this is so true because, you know, it's definitely super crowded in there, but as you're walking along, you do see people just like taking a seat, finding a nice view, and just like sitting there with the people they're with, and really just like taking it all in for a second because there's like so much to take in. And the quote continues, "In the observatory, you toggle between subtle and exciting space in a way that can be quite meditative. There are wooden benches, stone tables, and an outdoor garden with the bar, all details that use design to enrich the experience of looking over the city. Of course, the sense of serenity was more or less the point of the observatory." So now I kind of want to walk you like through the space so you get an idea of like how to navigate it, especially if you're planning a visit there. So at the entrance, once you get to the summit, there is an entrance on 42nd and Vanderbilt, and then you'll see like the sign. It's actually up, I believe, an escalator, but you enter, and that's when you kind of get your ticket scanned. I would highly recommend getting tickets before going because they do sell out, but they also sell tickets in kiosks inside of the observation decks. There's a few different packages you can get. There's like the standard experience, which is $42, and And that pretty much gives you access to all the floors. There's 3 floors in total, except it doesn't allow you to go up the ascent elevator, which is like an external elevator that goes down the building from the outside, so you can actually travel down and see the landscape of New York, which I think is amazing, and I would definitely want to include that. And then there is a signature experience, which is what I did, and that one includes a cocktail within the package itself. So once you get to the top floor, there's actually a bar there called a Priest, and you can get a drink there as part of this package. And I think that the terrace part was really my favorite because the views were just so stunning. So like being able to sip on a cocktail while, you know, looking at the views is just like, that's me. That's me. Going, I would definitely recommend getting tickets beforehand, and I would highly recommend doing the signature experience with the cocktail included, so you can enjoy the views with a drink. As far as hours are concerned, just so when you're like planning your experience, they're basically open Sunday through Saturday, starting at 9 a.m. That's their first like ticket that you can purchase, and they're open till 12 a.m. which is really cool. So like even late night after like a Broadway show or like a concert, they're open. But I will say, and I will note, that the last entry is at 11 p.m. So after 11, they're not letting anybody else in, but you can stay till midnight, which is like so New York. So New York, the city that never sleeps. So they scan your tickets and then you check in. And then you actually go into this room, and it has like this really well done concept video showing like, you know, where Vanderbilt started, you know, what was the inspiration behind it, how did it come to be, and what is it known for now, which is like basically super iconic is what they're striving for. Like this is a new New York icon experience, and you're just getting shot up to the 91st floor. So you basically enter this like dark hallway, and then all these like lights are flashing, and then you enter an elevator, and it's almost like a Disney ride. Like it starts you off with like some music, and like the lights are flashing. The elevators open up, and then you walk down this curved hallway, and it's all lit up in different like color hues. It actually reminded me of like a James Turrell, but you basically go from like the flashing elevator to this like dark curvy tunnel with like different color hues, and then it opens up into the Kenzo digital space, which is called the Transcendence. So you literally do feel like you're getting transcended into like a different time and space. And we definitely plan to get there like before sunset so that we can be there for sunset and see the building during the day, during sunset, and then at night. After you're like in that room, you know, you could really stay in that room for as long as you want. I think that the experience is supposed to be 90 minutes altogether, but you know, I'm pretty sure you can take your time. And then you walk a little further and you get into this room that's called Reflect, that has a Yayoi Kusama installation. It's like these like liquid, reflective liquid silver blobs, if I had to explain it. And what's really cool about that is like from the views of the window, the reflection into these like liquid, you remember Alex Mack? Comment below if you remember Alex Mack. So basically what she turned into, like that silver like liquid bubble, are like on the ground. So you see like just the city like completely distorted and like warped, and I just love anything Kusama does. So for me that was like so cool. I loved it. And then you go to the Affinity Room, and that is a room filled with these silver metallic, they're like beach balls kind of idea. This room was a little crowded, I will say. Like I wish they actually kind of like control the crowd in that room. But there are these silver balls that are just like bouncing around the room in every way, shape, or form. There's people like kicking them, and it's kind of scary. People like forget there's other people in the room. So all of a sudden you're like walking into somebody and you're like, hey, hi, I'm a person here. Again, like the balls are reflecting the landscape of the city, the people around you, and it like, I got so like dizzy in that room, like not in a bad way, but I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And I will say, like, I really wish it was programmed a little bit better, like less people, maybe more of a soundtrack, but again, so fun. Then you will walk a little bit further and you get to Transcendence 2, and that's basically Kenzo Digital's experience from the first floor, but there's a second floor. And this includes these like mirrored like holes to the floor below. So when you're looking through the mirror, you see the people on the first floor, but again, like super like surreal, like distorted and multiplied and seemingly going on forever and ever and ever. So actually, like, if I had known about the second floor, I probably would have spent more time up there because it was actually less crowded than the first floor. And a little bit past the second floor, here's where we saw like a line formed, and there is a experience called levitation, and it's basically these glass boxes that kind of protrude out of the building. So glass floor, which is crazy. Glass sides and glass ceiling, and once you step into that glass and you look down, it really feels like you're just floating on top of the city. So if you're scared of heights, I would probably skip this one, but it is just like, you just feel like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And then past levitation, there is a room that they call Unity, and this is like a digital experience where you stand in the room, there's mirrors, but it like digitizes you like on the building or in the sky. This was interesting. I could have done without it. I felt like it was just like kind of filling a space. I don't think it, like, the intention is not as clear as I think it could be. But again, like, such a cool add-on addition. And then the third floor, so this will be the 93rd floor, is where the fun starts. So this is where the bar is, and it's called a Priest. I think it's a cool name because usually that means, the place, the restaurant, or like the chateau at the top of a mountain, like when you go skiing. And this is truly like the top of the mountain that is One Vanderbilt. So if you have your signature drink, this is when you'll like show them your QR code, get that scanned, and then you get your drink, and then you can either sit indoors. They have limited seating, but they do have seating. Or then you go out to the terrace, which is basically, the outdoor space. It's open to the elements, and it has glass from floor to ceiling so that no one does anything stupid, I guess. But I thought that this was maybe my favorite because I just like, this is in summertime, like I love the outdoors. And it was really nice to be like in that space for sunset. I ordered a espresso martini, as you do. I don't know why, but espresso martinis for me are like so New York. And it was delicious, to be honest. Like, sometimes restaurants and bars like attached to like a tourist attraction are kind of like just very average, but this was a good espresso martini. This really was. It was like not light, it was the perfect shade. I could have probably drank like 3, but I didn't. I just stuck to the one, just kept it very low-key, so to speak. But yeah, I basically stayed out on the terrace throughout sunset, but this is probably where we spent the most of our time because it was actually less crowded, or felt less crowded than the first and second floor. Just being like outdoors, like I said, was so nice. But this was really like my favorite part of the experience because sunset into nighttime in New York, so magical. Like the sunset itself, of course, with like all the pretty colors, but also then when all the city lights started like flickering on and the Empire State Building flickered on, just so amazing. It gives you that like New York feeling that like everyone in the world has. And I will say that this building has a great view of the Empire State Building. Top of the Rock does too, but this one's even better because I think like just the angle and like where it is, a little bit more like detailed, closer to the Empire State Building. But if you're gonna go to an observation deck, the Empire State Building is one of them that you can go to. But like, why would you want to go be in the Empire State Building looking out when you could be at a different building looking at and taking photos of the Empire? I mean, the Empire State Building is our Eiffel Tower. Like, that's the iconic, piece of the skyline that really like represents New York City. So overall, definitely recommend going to check out Summit at One Vanderbilt. Like, I am the type of person that when I lived in New York, I never really like made an effort to do like touristy kind of things. But now that I live in Miami, like going back to New York, I always make sure to do something that's special and like very particular to New York. Because like, I don't know, it's sad. Like when we have access to things often, like New Yorkers always have access to things in New York, we tend to like not do them because it's like we take it for granted. Like in Miami, like there's so many people who have lived here for a really long time that never go to the beach. They just don't. They think like the parking and it's such a hassle. But me, like I came from New York, and the beach is why I moved here, and like I take advantage. Like I see the sunrise, I'll go to the beach like twice. I try to go at least twice a week, and it's just like they take it for granted because it's here, and like they can go anytime. So their thought process is, oh, you know, maybe tomorrow, and maybe tomorrow turns into like a lifetime. So sad, right? Anyway, so if you're a New Yorker, put on your, you know, best outfit and like just go. You can do it before going out for the night, or on like a Saturday morning, or even like a weekday. If you could sneak out and like take an hour, maybe 2, that could be a really fun thing to do on like a play hooky kind of day. Definitely recommend checking out the Summit at One Vanderbilt. And yeah, I like throwing in these little like New York vlogs in between because that's just my life. I'm in Miami, I'm in New York, and well, I'm gonna have to go. I'm getting ready to meet a friend for ice cream, and it might rain, but let's just hold our breath because it's Miami. Thanks for watching if you made it this far. See you next week.